What is up, you guys? Welcome to another After Work Yappings, episode 2. This time as a real After Work Yappings. We really ran late for half an hour, our bad. But as you know, in the hospitality, we cannot predict everything and anything, so we try to set up on time. Today we also, again, with Teddy in the background.
Hi.
By now you should maybe remember. Nah, I don't think so.
No.
I think barely people saw our first episode, which is fine. We'll get there eventually. For those who just joined or gonna see this for the first time, why do we do this? Basically, I like to yap. We like to share knowledge. We like to communicate and engage with our audience. And at one point, we thought we should share everything we have learned, everything we observed with the masses, and discuss ideas and exchange ideas. And maybe together we can come to better solutions. Maybe give people a better reference frame, inspiration, maybe motivation. And so that's why we started the After Work Yappings. This time, we're gonna talk about nothing less than the two-pack method. I just came up with it last week. That's why we decided to go in this time, this episode, with the two-pack. Because obviously, we're not gonna talk about Tupac Shakur, the rapper. Teddy's disappointed because she's a very big hip-hop lover. So, without further ado, we're gonna dive right into it. We're gonna talk about 3 ingredients and we'll elaborate them eventually to 6, but every component has 2 degrees of the same pillar, let's say. So we're gonna touch upon everything. But 3 ingredients that you need, at least you have to have 2 of the 3 to succeed in any endeavor. Maybe your business, your side hustle, your crypto coin. I hope you're not releasing any meme coin these days because people like really stalk you and try to flame you. But so basically you need at least 2, that's why the 2 of the pack, which is P for products, in extension service. So if you only do services, that will be your product. If you have a physical product, that will be your product. But if you're in hospitality, you have product and service. So in that sense, product, service. A stands for awareness, but for you to have awareness, you need exposure. So that's why I bracket these 2 together, exposure and awareness. We'll dive in each of them in a moment. Then C for community, and another realization I basically made last year, and we'll talk about this more toward the end of the episode. So we have product, awareness, community. Like I said and announced, to make this a little bit more engaging, obviously you guys get to ask us questions and we'll make some polls between live streams. Maybe you can vote for which topic to hit first or direction we're going. Let's dive into it. I'm not gonna start with the P because it's too obvious. We're gonna start with the middle. We're gonna start with the awareness exposure. And we have, again, what we do these talks, we do a lot of reflecting back as well in nostalgia. Anything we say is from our observations, our own practices, but also what we analyze from the market or what we found through our journey, through our years of like basically following a lot of businesses or brands develop. Because obviously that's a passion of mine. So take that with a grain of salt, take it or leave it, whether you like it. We start with the A. So why all these components are important? Because obviously without any of them, you don't have nothing. When you want to start an endeavor, might be a side business or personal branding for that matter, or any business, you need something to stand on. From our last episode, we talked about like know your strengths. Well, this is one of them. You might have a very innovative product that will stand on its own, right? Because you really solve an itch or niche. Meaning what Uber did to the taxi industry, they solved time because you can then demand a ride at the leisure of your time and you know when it will arrive, so it will save you time. Time of uncertainty and looking for a cab. That's on its own standing a product. Last year you saw, if any one of you is into stock trading, if you look at NVIDIA chips, they solved a niche, like an itch, which was computing power within a certain chip. With the boom of AI, they needed a lot of chips. What happened? Without much marketing or community building, the chips started selling like crazy. You saw the stock shares rise in price and they start to sell out a lot. That's a standalone product. Then you might be someone that has already a community. Think of influencers, athletes, actors, or local celebrities. It may be like a religious figure. There's basically any person that already has a big community on its own. That person can also launch something or start a side project. Third part, and the awareness. And that's kind of interlinks with the people that have a community. So basically the influencers, they already have exposure, or let's say you're a building and you're like, let's say a soccer stadium, arena, and you want to do concerts over there. It's already easier because you already have exposure. We'll dive in them, but firstly, we're going to do exposure and awareness. Because if people don't know what you do and you can't get the word out, no matter how good your product is, no matter how strong your little community is, you can't really extend further than that. So that's a vital component into anything you're going to do. There are two routes, right? Because you could start out with your product or service and you start building and building and building, and you make advertising, promotions, the word of mouth, spread the word, and then maybe your awareness starts to grow and grow and grow and grow. Another way you could go, people that first built a platform, so basically influencers, you see that happening a lot. Mr. Beast does it a lot, Logan Paul did it, you see soccer players do it, you see artists that start streaming all of a sudden, and they just basically, when they launch something or try to put a product to the market, it just sells. Why? They already have a platform. You have already people that know you, they know what you do or basically what you're about. So if you're gonna do something, people will know you're doing it. Doesn't matter what the product is, they just know what it is. You already have the word out, so you're already one step ahead. To bring it back a little bit to our case, a little bit of anecdotal example, how we did to measure or increase our exposure and awareness as what we did. And for the OG followers, we have back in the days something like a small lunch and a big lunch. This was something we already knew was necessary, because why? We're someone from a different city opening up a new city. Most people don't know who you are. Let's just assume nobody knows who you are. Another point that worked in against us was this place was empty for 3 years. So we didn't take over a ongoing business where there's traffic and people going through the doors and people walking by the store and seeing you, and basically you already have kind of awareness, exposure in the city. We start literally from zero. In that sense, it's very logical and important for you to think outside of the box. Obviously, we're gonna do normal promotions, right? In the first year, we did try to mention within the local newspapers, the blogs, we contacted. Back then, it was bloggers, 2015, so influencers wasn't really a thing. We tried advertising, but these are nice, but you're gonna assume people see it, right? Back then, your euros came further. In a sense, also your organic posts came further. To give an example, what's really funny, because I tell you guys like Teddy all the time, see how organic reach has changed just in a few years from 2015 to 18 was ridiculous. So because we were starting a new restaurant, we made our advertising, like a post, not even an advertising. We didn't push without any sponsoring or advertising. We just made a post, oh, opening soon, sushi cocktail lounge, looking for waiters, hiring. Basically simple post, image, text. That's it, on Facebook. Because back then we had a following on Tilburg Facebook. We made a new one, but somehow you could link each other, so you get the cross exposure and awareness, and we just posted it. Within a span of 1 or 2 months, we got 500 emails just from one organic post. How many people had to see the one post without any boost or promotion to get that much impressions and then response? A lot. A bunch of people got to see the post. We did this experiment back in 2018 again, but then better posts, so interesting photos, edited text. We really thought about the copy on the message and the caption. We even sponsored it with 2,000 euros. Really boosted it, because we kind of knew like in 3 year time your euro could do less and less. Take a wild guess how many people applied, and I think the impressions was 60,000, 80,000. So we knew 80,000 people saw it. Just take a wild guess how many people applied. It was 2. So that's how you see organic reach really died off, and even paid ads has no use anymore. So then you had to find new ways to find exposure and awareness. Exposure is just seeing it once. Awareness is knowing what it is. So for you to get awareness, you need exposure. So what we thought back then, 2015, we knew when we introduced something like a small lunch for €10.45. Yes, we were selling lunch, sushi lunch for €10.45. Guess what public we really attracted?
Broke students.
Youth. Because they had the same lunch money for McDonald's, or to grab a sandwich from Subway, or come here for sushi lunch, and that's cool. Back then it was like, oh my god, what do you do for lunch? Imagine you're 14, 15, 16, 17. For us, we already knew we're gonna break even or make a loss in there. We calculate these costs as marketing costs because we think in the future. Another thing that was very relevant back then, so Snapchat really exploded 2013 and 2015. It earned a lot of ground in the Netherlands and Europe as well, and the young people were using a lot of Snapchat. Guess what they were doing doing? All of them, if they're here. Snapping stories. So what happens if you have a whole bunch of high schoolers around the same time post stories of here? Mind you, back then there was not a lot of places where you can eat lunch. Regardless about the price, there were like maybe 3 or 2 places where you can really eat lunch for sushi. It was us and someone else. Actually, we had a competitor, but they disappeared in half a year. We had a bunch of high schoolers coming here for lunch that was super cheap, posting all at the same time, around the same time frame, being here eating lunch, sushi. So you can guess what happened next. It basically exploded. It exploded so much every single day. It was a different high school that was here because they had different, gap hours between lessons, and they would just all massively come over here and just take over the floor. There were lunches, and people that are OG fans, they probably know that by when they were here or when you worked here, you saw the whole spot was full. Like, I mean, full to the end in the back. And you would come in here and just like left and right tables, all your friends. And they're like, oh, what are you doing here? Yeah, the same thing you're doing here. Like, it got so much explosion that just one simple tactic, just being aware of what's going on at that moment, leveraging the Snapchat popularity and knowing they were gonna post stories, and you will then eventually, the algorithm did work like this back then as well. If a bunch of people post a lot of things at the same time, at the same location, you then reach like organic virality a little bit within your community and geographic, because you would have like those dots on the map of Snapchat, and you can click. And then imagine you are at home or at school, you click, you want to know where your friends are, you click, everyone was there, you create FOMO, massive FOMO. You're like, why don't I know about this spot, right? And the next time you want to go there, especially because it's close by, you already know a bunch of people that go there. So by extension, that exposure made that we had awareness. And I'll take this a step further. We knew these people were maybe young and had not a lot of budget. That's why they could afford the lunch, but not really the dinner. But what will happen if people start to age? They will start to earn more. But if this is what they've known for, to chill and hang out with their friends and community, where do they refer to when they go out for drinks and food when they're older and have budget? The same spots. And this is where we dial in the community part a little bit later. But what we unconsciously started doing was a little bit of community building. Because we realized by investing upfront, because we were basically losing money by every customer when they choose a small lunch, because we did have the large lunch. There we could break even, but the small lunch was $10.45. Even the cost price back then was not like a lot. So we knew when we invest upfront, we lose money upfront, but we invest in the future. We created exposure, by extension awareness, by extension community. Simple trick, and unconsciously we did something nice. So they become older, they tell their friends, their family, and that's how they, like, you really get extension of the exposure and awareness. So that's why it's so important for you to really think about, how do I get the word out? For everyone it's different. You can take an example of Gymshark. Did they do any advertising? If you really look at it, they never really did a commercial shoot, or they never bought a billboard. Back then, when they launched, the guys launched within his garage, basically. A lot of you probably saw the reels or the backstory or YouTube, how he got rich. He's up like $1 billion company at the moment, evaluated. And it basically started out, he introduced influencer marketing. A lot of you that follow kind of the branding and marketing content, you probably saw this example already, but because he approached every single gym girly, and what he did smartly was, because it was, I think it was also around 2015, 16. He started out also when the personal branding of personal trainers really lifted off. What he started to do was leveraging Instagram. What he started to do basically is basically started to give out a lot of bunch of fitness influencers his clothing, and they started to post, and by extension more people started to post. So what he did really well was leverage, and that's a nice point, and then that's why nice that we do this. Ride the wave, knowing what wave is on. He rode the wave of fitness influencers. Back then, not everyone had their own brand. So what did he do? Hey, here's a bunch of clothes, wear them in your clip, go for it. What did people started to do? Well, a bunch of influencers started to wear them. They all had 200k followers, 500k, some had millions of followers, and all of a sudden, every young person that wanted to go to the gym or wanted to wear something nice for the gym, especially for the female audience, they were like influenced a lot. This is how influencer marketing was born, kind of. He helped a lot by doing what he did to promote his product. So that's another way to go about it, right? You just basically contact influencers, and that will make you really get the word out. Another really popular one, which kind of faded in the background, you can think of that leverage the influencer thing a lot, is Revolve. What they did back then was retreats. They would contact a bunch of Instagram influencers, get them all together, and then go to the Bahamas or I don't know, Bali or somewhere, and then they just make a bunch of content, but not only for their own commercials, but they make content for the individual influencers. What will then happen is if you see 30 times, and they would do this 4 times a year, or I don't know, 6 times a year. So same idea, leveraging influencers to get the word out. One thing you can do, post a bunch of clips that add value for your customer base. Why? Especially now, the day of today, it takes one video to go viral for you to get exposure and then awareness for your shop to fill up. In here, we have multiple examples. Not the most recent, but the most, I think, cute and deserved viral moment was, forgot the name. They are in Delft. They sell like sandwiches. And the girl was doing those how to make X dish reels or TikToks. And she did something really smart. She would accidentally or purposely pronounce things differently. So she'll say like, and that's the one clip that went viral, at oregano, right? And she was just like, oh, do this a bunch of times, and that clip went super viral. So the next day, there was a whole queue in front of their shop. It was so funny because the dad came, because she's from Breda, and her dad came here for dinner, and they were with a bunch of them, the family, just for dinner. And this was 1 year after their success. Nowadays, they have like multiple shops and only Mucello and everything. See, when you have exposure awareness and you eventually your community, you can launch a lot of bunch of stuff. But I knew to ask the dad, when your daughter started this TikToking or filming, did you take her serious and did you think it would work? The dad obviously said no. For sure, he was like, no way, this is gonna work. Who's gonna see this? This is nonsense. There's only dancing people on TikTok. They won't come out for food. This will not bring me business. These people are not even from here, right? And then slowly but surely, more people started to queue up, business started to rise. And nowadays, he's just in the clips. He's making clips with her because it's definitely on the other side, right? He's making commercials, videos. But what I'm trying to say is it takes one viral clip for you to, the same with our example, one of our staff members, Luna, shout out Luna, gave this example there in Lithuania. I think up into 2023, June, they didn't have any social media presence at all. So there was no exposure. So therefore, no awareness. Business was fine, but it was not like they were booming or like growing a lot. And then from one moment to another, one person had the smart idea to start recording someone eating their dishes with a microphone. Not much else than what we're doing now. And then after a few clips, they went super viral. Fast forward 1 more year, now they only get famous people, big influencers, actors, actresses, athletes over the door because they're the person and the company that went viral with this. So they are the authority on this concept, if you will. It just took one video, one idea for them. Now they are like, business is booming, there's a waiting line. Everyone in the Baltics is copying them. I think it's even in the Balkan. A lot of people are copying their concepts. We are also copying, hey, shout out. I forgot the name, but shout out whatever the name is. So it takes one clip. So to boil it down, figure out a way to get at least some exposure. The classical ways still exist. I'm not saying don't try them. Obviously, everything is end. Did we spread out flyers on our bikes and fall down multiple times because I can't bike for shit? We did. Did we walk through the snow to put in our promo codes through all the post boxes? We did. Did we promote in local newspapers? We did. Magazines, random tabloids. We posted everywhere. We even considered bus promotion. We didn't though. It was too expensive back then. Back to the back, do your own research from episode 1. At least I knew what is worth for my euros. There was a lot of ways to get exposure, right? You could promote in a cinema. You could promote again on a bus, the bus stops, billboards, small signs along the roads. A bunch of ways you can pay big companies to get the word out, exposure. But how many people were really looking at those things? So if you can, try them. Obviously, if you have the budget and you think it's worth it, even the day of today, a lot of people call me for sponsoring. That was a method, right? And we will get there in a moment for the community part. There's a bunch of methods, but really analyze what's working for you and what we discovered during this talk, what wave is happening, so you can then leverage what's happening around you. Because obviously, we're live stream for a reason. People are like, oh, why are you live streaming so late? Nobody's watching. They fail to realize that TikTok is for the world. And if you live stream, it will just put you out there as someone that's live streaming for all of their audience, not just your audience. Recent metric showed that live streamers are the top earners, one of the top earners amongst careers. Even some are earning way better than actresses, athletes, because that's something the platform is pushing. Because if you live stream 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, guess what's happening? The attention is on that platform for the same amount of hours. And if a bunch of people start to live stream, a bunch of people are staying on your platform. And what do the companies want? Staying on their platform. not moving out. And if you start to reward people that start to live stream, what will happen? We will live stream more. If we live stream more and we then eventually maybe earn more, what will happen? We will bring even better engaging content. And then what will then happen? People even watch longer. Why do you think Pete, Geisha, Aiden Ross do 30-hour streams? It's all about viewing time. Everything is about viewing time. So for you to get exposure, you should know what wave is happening. Be aware. But also see what works for you. See what fits within your budget and work things within your possibilities. Let's move to the product. It's an obvious one. Also, a thing you really have to think about if you have a good product. I am aware that you really love yourself and your own products and believe in your product is basically your own child. So you'll be the most proudest parents in the world, right? And let's say you made a very interesting pen and you want to sell it. And obviously, if you are the inventor or the maker of this pen, you will be the most proud parent you can be. And no matter how maybe aesthetically not a parent's pleasing pen it is, you will promote it as such. And you'll promote it as this is the best. But do you have the foresight to really measure it against multiple opinions of multiple people and multiple people for different industries and different reference frames? Really important, because a bunch of us, and same for me, I fall for this trap a bunch of times. We stay in our own bubble and then becomes like an echo chamber of people that talk your talk, believe the things you believe, see the things you see, share the same opinions, philosophies, worldviews, and then everything's peachy, nothing needs to be changed, everything's nice, you get comfortable, and that's fine. What if someone else from another bubble enters your bubble? Will the same person agree with your viewpoints? We don't know, but you should know. And that's why obviously believe in your stuff. At least give it a try. If you make something, if you believe something, make it. Nice reference point. That's nice when we do this because we really get to go back in time and be nostalgic, dig up old stories. Teddy will love this. Back in 2022, 21, 22, we started a clothing brand. It was in the heyday of NFTs. And this is backstory you don't know. So the idea of that clothing brand was like, hey, what if we could like make an NFT that was attached to the clothing piece? When you buy the clothing piece, you get an NFT, right? And we could add to the ledger, there is certain benefits, a small percentage of share and whatever benefits what we decided on back then, that you could basically have ownership of. So you buy a shirt, you get a shirt, a piece, a sweater, a piece, scarf, whatever we bring out, you get a piece. And the more pieces you have, the more benefits you will have. Kind of a shareholder. Because to me, it made no sense. Let's say you're an avid Adidas shoes collector. What's the difference between you, maybe you have 100 pairs, not that you do, but maybe if you do, between you and someone that bought the first pair of Adidas, 2 Adidas? The answer is there's zero difference. You are the same status as someone that just bought the Adidas. You who invested 100 times, let's say 50 or 100, 10K, and someone that just invested 50 to the company, you guys are the same to the company. And what's even more funny, you don't even exist to the company. And I don't know why this, well, I kind of get it why. It's kind of the old way of thinking. And there was no way of really collecting the data and no way to really count for how many times you purchase. Nowadays we can, but obviously the industry is ingrained how it is. So what's working, they're never gonna change until it's too late. But we thought, and that was really ambitious of us, let's make something like this. People should own a little piece of us. Because if we grow, they grow, and because of they, we can grow. Because we're trying to create a product, and that's where the community and product comes in. That's a nice segue in a moment. We try to create a product that will give you back. We really believed in it. We had a whole concept behind it. We were working with pattern codes, the hashtag. That's why the hashtag. Every color will stand for an element, and it will rotate to the element and a different pattern code. But that opens a door for more interesting things. So what if we organize a dance battle, and those who wear the cooler tones, so water, those fire, earth, and air avatar, they could battle each other, and they can send representative, we can do a prize pool, and it becomes a really fun thing. Same with, and we thought about this as well, like gaming tournaments. You can be different segments, fractions, and you support your own faction. You see this in TV shows a lot. Even we thought about our stores, because the first series would be Pantones. Hey, if you're like with a lot of budget, feel free to steal my ideas, fine. Guess what we can then do? Constellations of like astrology. Because we will start with 12 Pantones, 3 of each element. Guess what's another thing of 3 of each element? astrology. So that was our second line. But we really believed in our product. So we searched far and wide for good production, good quality. We tested a bunch, got a lot of quotes. Eventually we had a nice product at hand, got it shipped, did a fashion show, got a bunch of awareness. We really believed in the product. But then the awareness kind of stopped and the community kind of stopped. But the product was also not finished. And that's our fault. So there's an example of we believed in the product. We sure believed in it. But even if you believe in it so much, if multiple components fail, the product will, well, not really launch at first, in the first place, but second place, you will just eventually fail. And if you're opening a business, so for us, it was just a product, we had a web shop you can sell. So in that sense, we kind of accounted for losses. But let's say it was a brick and mortar situation and we had a whole store rented out, we have staff members, well then you go out of business, then it's even worse. So that's the awareness part. You should be very certain about your products, and like I mentioned in the example of products, obviously there's a lot of obvious products that just work. Tesla was one. They didn't have to promote nothing. First in its kind of electric cars that has very long battery life, functions in multiple severe conditions, built from ground up as an electric vehicle and not of a traditional way. Another thing we mentioned already was NVIDIA chips, obviously. More recent example, ChatGPT. What do they do, for example? Nothing. It was just a product, it worked, people are using it, that's it. But that's a solid, thought out, but with much iteration product that was launched and successful. So really think what you were making is something not only you can stand 10 toes down and have 100% believe in, but also know you thought out, really thought out what itch you are scratching. And you should do some kind of market research, but that's a topic for another day, so we'll save it for that. So that's the product. Final part, community. Referring back to the clothing example, what we knew by then, thanks to examples like Supreme, they did it really well. They targeted skaters. The brand Baller, which was a clothing brand in Netherlands by a soccer player, they targeted soccer players. Daily Paper, they targeted, is a Dutch-owned company, rappers and people from the hip-hop industry and R&B industry, mostly hip-hop. So from these examples, we kind of knew, okay, if we have a strong community, they will help us get out the exposure, right? We targeted dancers. What we realized really soon is that they didn't have a place to really connect, find refuge, build a community. You had big dance schools, dance competitions here now and then, but it was kind of hard if you lived under the river to find each other. Even now, people watching, and if you would watch this back, you're a dancer, I think you would agree it's kind of tough to find good classes, people you can vibe with in that sense for your hobby and your passion, that you had to travel for classes a lot or to meet people or dance competitions. So it was just tough, and we wanted something to get them together, and we really tried to build, and it worked. We had a very strong community. Same with Geisha Lounge. Because we knew our niche, the origin of Geisha was, okay, let's find a refuge place for girls or women to come together without being really overly bothered by guys or annoying people, and they just can vibe and chill and safe place. This was what we knew our audience, and through the years we really tried to cater to what they really needed, and we listened, we asked, we not only online but also offline, we asked every guest as much as we could what they liked most, what they didn't like, tried to do our research. Same with the Snapchat, we really kind of build a community around that, and then they will push your product forward. But if you have a bad product, they want to try first, but they don't want to come back again. So see how these things work hand in hand and in tandem. So you need at least two. That's my belief. You need at least two, and the underlying current is the wave. So that's how we built this. So the 2-pack is not just the 2-pack, we need like 2-pack with, so you need your 2 hands on a surf plank, riding on the right wave. That's a nice analogy, I think. So that's the community part in that sense, but you have to be open to listen and also know when you're pushing too far. And I think this is one of our setbacks. Throughout the years, we've been always trying to change a lot, adapt to the times, but the times according to us and not according to our audience. Just because we see stuff on Instagram and TikTok, just because it's a trend in Amsterdam or Rotterdam, doesn't mean our customers here want these things, or at least aware of those things, or demand these things. And that's a thing that we really, just this year and last year, we really wanted to tone it down, really to listen like, hey, what do they need? And sometimes you don't need to change. It is super fine to keep on selling what you sold before. It's super fine to keep on doing what you did before. That doesn't mean you don't try to innovate. In no way, shape or form we try to say we're not trying to innovate. But in a sense, when you innovate, then in at least just your stronger selling points. whatever it may be. For us, it's like the cocktails, right? We try experiments, we dive into all the trends and what's nice, new brands, new flavors, new flavor profiles, new techniques. We make new cocktails. We like that. Not only me, but our staff, by extension, our customers, they really like that we try new stuff. And every time they come here, they are surprised with something. I think a lot of viewers can agree that we do that and they have experienced it as such. So arriving to the last final point besides community, and that's a big realization of mine, but also what I've shared with my friends. There is also a certain thing as culture. Because if you take community per extension, if you bring a lot of bunch of communities together within a geographic confines in a geographic place, that's just the culture of your village, your city, your country, your region. That was one thing I overlooked. Because as a marketing student, you have been taught about culture, but they never really refer culture to a more specific culture. They talk about different cultures in languages, religions, countries, continents, but never about that hockey girls have a different culture, skater boys have a different culture, and then you can extend this of skater boys in Breda. You get the example. They have a different culture, and if your product and service does not align within what they do of that culture, you might have the best Kobe or Wagyu steak from cherry blossom coal charcoals, Rabata style grilled. They wouldn't care. That's outside of their culture, and that's a thing we really have to take into account. Even if you're starting your own personal brand or product service, there is such a thing as a culture. And how do you taste culture? Easy. Go there. Go to all the restaurants, go to all the spots where a lot of people are gathering together already, really soaking what's happening over there, what they're talking about, what's the place offering, what they're not offering, what they don't pay attention to. And this is not just by one location. You have to look beyond, again, this is a topic for another day, that's the market research. You have to look beyond just the geographic information and the demographic information. And culture is not something you can read on. You can follow a few accounts of popular persons within that community, it's fine. But I really strongly believe that you have to be in the spots that it's happening and really taste the culture. Sounds cliche, but it's definitely underrated point that people never talk about. And that's a thing I realized. Just because Breda is closer to Rotterdam doesn't mean anything. In my mind, back in 2014-13 when we started this, I was naive. I'm like, oh, this is close to Rotterdam, so Breda is kind of like Rotterdam. They're open to new stuff. They're very new age. They will adapt new stuff. They love to try new things, and if you're like doing good stuff, they'll come. But in reality, it wasn't like that at all. Here, they stick to what they know and they stick to what's comfortable. But if you're doing something really, really well, they will keep on coming back. So they are really loyal. So that's the culture of here. And I'm gonna leave you guys with this. Just because there is not a culture for something doesn't mean you can't create the culture for something. Good example. When we started out in 2014-15, we knew this spot, and it was back then not really booming. You had Copycats, but it was new, and the traffic was at Grote Markt. There was more traffic here. People were just selling iced teas, colas within those branded glasses. You remember those cola glasses? They were for free. People were doing it. But we knew there was a lot of young people going here because per extension you have the places where people go out, the clubs. And we wanted to do cocktail and sushi because that's something that's working in Miami, Barcelona, Madrid, even back then. Really viral. Perfect combination, makes sense. Nowadays makes perfect sense, but 2015 in the Netherlands, in Brabant, see how the comma worked. When we started out, there was not a bunch of places where you can get cocktails. People look at us weird because they think, oh, it's just an all-you-can-eat place. What do you guys know about cocktails? We got a lot of flashback, actually. People telling us that we're doing it wrong. What do we know? Blah, blah, blah. That it should be done this way, that way. Too strong, not strong, whatever. But we keep on plowing through, making it better, listening feedback, integrating new stuff, and really teach and give education. That's one thing I've learned. You could, through the years, if you do your thing really correctly and on the right way, you could give the market education. And we're happy that we brought a lot of change in not only the cocktail world, but the same. Before us, there was no English-speaking waiters in Breda. I know almost for a fact that we were one of the first ones. Maybe there was a 1 or 2 person doing runner stuff, or the busboy who cleaned out the plates, but for sure we were one of the first. All I'm saying is just because somebody is not doing it doesn't mean you can do it, as long as it makes sense, right? For the waiter, if you do your job well, what's the issue? People understand you, they get education enough in English, they should possess enough English knowledge to communicate with us. So why is it that people are stopped from this position? We didn't care. We did it. Same with our assortment. And we have a bunch of examples. So there are some things you can really help set out and build. You build your community, the culture. Because if you do something really well and people see good effect that you have done something right, people see and people will follow. Same with QR codes. 2017, 18. Nobody had it. We were one of the first ones in Netherlands with the you can eat with a QR code from your phone. Did we get a lot of lashback? Hell yes. For our straight up 2 years, people were like punishing us. And guess what's happening now? Everyone has it. Every sushi place has their own cocktails. Every sushi place has their own QR codes. And I think don't be afraid that people are gonna steal your stuff. It's very common in our culture. Chinese people are like this. They don't like to share at all. In that sense, we don't like to share our secrets. What I'm doing now within the traditional Chinese space, from what I'm coming from, not really common. The Americans do it, the Europeans do it. Good guys, good for you. You know how often I heard from my friends and family members, hey, why do you show people how you make your cocktails, how you make your sushi, or this new concept or new product selection? Aren't you afraid that people are gonna copy you? Like, yeah, but they're gonna copy me anyway. So if I don't innovate, they copy. If I innovate, they copy. Why don't I do things they can copy, but it will take a lot of time to copy? So that's why I came up with eventually 100 cocktails. Because for you to copy all my cocktails, I already moved on to the next selection. And then you bought all the 500, 600 liquors, which takes you a lot of inventory. It takes a different kind of maniac to want to copy that. That I know for sure. So that's why we did it, right? People now ask me, why do you have so many cocktails? Because when I had 8 cocktails, people would do the same thing. Asian people are like this. So that's why I don't have 8 cocktails anymore. I started out with 8, for sure. Because like you, I didn't know much about cocktails. I did my research, dived into it, understand it, incorporated it like in my knowledge, eventually became way more. So nowadays, they can't copy it anymore. Because if they do, we're already on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And then eventually you become the authority on this. People come to us to try new things, new sushi, new cocktails, they find new music. So yeah, that's what we're close with. Try to achieve at least 2 of the 3 things. Find your wave to ride on, but you should be aware of all 3. Do your research. It's a nice team to come back on, but really dive into stuff. But don't just gloss over it. I heard that this is a nice product. Everyone wants it. No. Do your own research. Don't just believe everything ChatGPT tells you, because even ChatGPT is wrong. For preparation of this episode, I asked ChatGPT to give me examples of brands that succeeded in certain things, and they didn't give me current things. I wanted more examples from brands that succeeded because of community. Lululemon, they didn't talk about Lululemon. Lululemon succeeded because they were bringing like sport leggings for New York housewives and become a thing that they just wore. And if you're a New York housewife, you just wear it. And it became super sold out. And there was a lot of things, some people I can't even mention, that succeeded in the exposure thing. Well, I can mention Kanye, right? But he leveraged exposure to the max. You have to give him that. Super smart marketing. Recent example of leveraging exposure, well, Trump, same thing. The Trump coin. He leveraged the exposure thing to the max. You know what I mean? These are examples ChatGPT didn't give me. So do your own research in a sense of not just one source, multiple sources. And yeah, try to build on those 2 things. Well, you start with 1 and then 2, preferably 3. If you have all 3, then you're like doing something really well. So the last thing, sponsoring. One of these projects was sponsoring. And one reason why we don't do it, because it has no utility for us. But for Red Bull, it has a bunch of utility. It's basically the only thing they do. You see Red Bull every sports event, esports event, crazy commercials about crazy sports, extreme sports. The product is not the best energy drink out there, flavor-wise. One can like agree. Exposure-wise, before they didn't have any, but then they focused on athletes, sports, and they tried to build a community, per extension exposure, and then just because the product isn't that good, they become the #1 energy drink. Same with Bang Energy. You have heard of it, Bang Energy?
No.
Oh, it took off in the US a lot. What did they do? They gave every single TikToker back in 2019 just Bang Energy. A bunch of trays. All they have to do, make TikToks with Bang Energy. And then you have like just basically every single TikTok you see from big TikTokers, they were drinking Bang Energy. And it took over. But yeah, let's open it up for questions.
If you would start all over again, this business, what would you change?
I would do a la carte, everything. Because nobody likes it anymore. People like to pay more for less food and less quality food. It's true. I see it all over the place. People don't appreciate comfort food anymore.
They choose all you can
because
eat.
They are here, they know what they know here. But then come to our next neighbor, they pay 30 euros for 8 pieces, gladly. Because it has smoke outs coming from the sides. Now, I would definitely do a lot of things different, a lot of things. Do we have time? There's a lot of things we do different.
We have a question. How to make your business different from others?
on every aspect of what we talked about. Your product already set you apart. The way you gained exposure does set you apart because there are different avenues, reaches different target audience. Then your community sets you apart. So the combination of the three or two of the three, that creates kind of the people that come here. So that's a good question in that sense of one thing that a lot of people don't understand. Example in a hospitality world. Just because let's say we sell nachos. And in this city, there are 4 places to go nachos. Just because that spot is every day full, selling a lot of nachos, and they don't come here to eat your nachos, doesn't mean they took business from you. What do I mean by this? Just if you did your thing well, the people that come here will never go there, and the people that go there will never come here. All you had to do was do better of job reaching your people. But for you to know to do that, you have to know who your people are. So that's a mistake a lot of people make. They think, oh, location A is full every day, and we are not full every day. So they probably take our customers. So how do we compete with them? This is the wrong thinking frame. Your thinking frame should be, how do we reach our people even better? Because if you did your thing well, and thriving businesses, successful business, do that, and personal brands, they know their audience, they talk to their audience, engage their audience, present them what they want to see, what they want to hear, what they want to experience, and do it even better over and over again. So the people that will go there but not go there, go to you. And your people will go to you and not go there. They didn't take your people. You just somehow lost your people and never found them. So that's basically how I look at it.
When you talked about the QR code, it's a risk in my opinion. How do you overcome that fear?
Saving money. Money cures all wounds. Because we did the calculation last episode. It will take you on average 5 to 10K a month to keep that thing going. And then you have to do it over again in 3 years. You know how much sunk cost that is? And that's only the sunk cost of the keep that thing running. I'm not even talking about saving costs. Because the QR is even more efficient than a tablet. One cannot tell me that's not true. It's way more efficient. So both sides, saving money and saving more money on stuff, well, then you get dissatisfaction by your customers. But that's my fault, because I should have explained it better. Why do you think we hammer on how to explain every single time? Because whose fault is it that they don't understand? Us.
Oh, yeah.
The teacher's fault, never the students. You don't tell a 10-year-olds because they didn't know how to pronounce certain words. It's your fault. Well, your teacher should have done a better job. Same here. We should have taught it better. And how do we do that? Hold their hands, show them step by step by step. It was a risk. We did get lashback, a lot of them. But it was eventually worth it because we got more efficient, less mistakes, way less, much less. Because imagine we had to, like traditional way, write it down and be able to read your own handwriting. Hope you enter the right things in the system, to the right table, to the right time, side notes, nice comments. A lot. Too much moments of failure. And through this, we eliminated all the frictions of failure for the QR.
How do you start building a community from scratch?
You basically reminded me of something about community. So there are certain, and that's why I mentioned that in the beginning I mentioned like local celebrities. That's not only because they are like because of TV or something. No. There is such a thing as a FICO 500. It's a theory. You can look it up. That means there are 500 tastemakers within a city that determine what's hot or not. Basically, what club is popping, what bar to go, which restaurant is worth it to wait for, who do we hang out with. Basically, the popular kids of your whole city. So obviously, a city of Breda probably doesn't have 500, it's less, but these are the tastemakers. If, let's say, 5 out of the 500 tastemakers, or 4, decided to get a bar, they open a bar. Guess what's gonna happen? They don't do no commercials, no advertising, no promotion. You think they're gonna be full? Answer is yes. We see this a lot in Breda, Tilburg, Eindhoven, like smaller cities see that a lot. That's why it can explain, I'm not gonna name names, but people that watch this know it is true and they won't not admit it, but it is true. Because how else can you tell me something opens up out of nowhere? They didn't promote, first week full and then afterwards all full. You can't tell me otherwise. There is no way. Your product is not that good. And if you're there, experience the product or service, it's not that good. It's just a bar, drinking beer, or just a place to chill. But why? The person that runs it or the connection of it determine what's hot. So if that person decides to hang out just every weekend there and bring all his friends, which by extension the most popular ones, or the most influential, it's not always the most popular, sometimes it's not even the most popular. Some people are just very influential in what they do because they are leaders and opinion leaders, taste leaders. Taste leaders are a real thing. You have to really pay attention. We try to educate the girls and the guys here how to spot them, the group leaders. We tell you in like workshops how to find the group leaders. There are people that are actual group leaders. You can just tell this person knows a fuck ton of people. If you are friends with that person, they will bring you infinite amounts of business. But that's identifying these people. But if these people all bundle together and open something, it will pop. At least 2 years. Obviously, if you have a bad product and eventually you don't do nothing anymore to innovate and just stagnate, yeah, then even you will fall off. Because there will come another popular person or tastemaker that's more current than you and don't go to your spot. But how do you start from scratch? No community. Same way we did. Find a way. There is always our way. Depends on which sector you are. So you basically have to know the culture. Let's say Breda is really hockey based and your product is female sensitive. So you know females are sensitive to this product offering. Go around hockey clubs. Invite them all to eat for free. Try it once. You already reach a few thousands of them. They by extension know at least 3 other girls. That's already 10k people that went through your door. They per extension already have family members plus 3. That's already 30,000 people that tried. That's almost a small village. And if you have a product and people taste once and you believe in your product and it's good, they will come back and they will bring people. But you have to identify first what's working in your city. Maybe there's a place they all gather around. Let's say I'm a beer brand. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna sponsor the first babyavond. That's special beeravond on a Monday. Or I'm gonna do a deal with Doc. Every bottle you sell, you get 50-cent kickback. Because I know everyone is drinking beer there. Obvious, if you're in Breda. So it's really looking what's happening. If I'm a shirt designer, I thought about this. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna find the nearest restaurants with the highest traffic, with the most staff members. All the company clothing will be designed by me. Maybe hell, I'll even sponsor half of the money. Why? Because this restaurant is with high traffic. Do not underestimate a restaurant with high traffic. What do I mean by this? If a restaurant has 400 seats, it's being filled for 5 times a day, 2,000 a day, times 365. I can calculate this fast. There's a bunch of people. Do you know how many eyeballs see your design? And you really don't think, and if you're good, that so comes back to your self-belief and self-knowledge. And if you really don't understand that your little design that's very intricate and aesthetically sound will not catch eye from other people that also have businesses or want a design, you're very much mistaken, my friend. There will be someone like me, I see a design, I'll even ask the staff member to stop. Let me make a picture. Where do you get this from? I will hit you up, for sure. Because I'm someone that looks for design. There's someone with a design on display. This is how you build your community. Boom, awareness. There's actually exposure, a good example of exposure. Nobody does this, but it's easy. But then you have to have someone to agree, but sponsoring the half of the cost, you're getting really close to agreeing.
We have another question.
Oh, whoa, piling in.
I think you already kind of answered, but how to find what people want so you can satisfy their expectations?
Well, if you don't know what they want, how do you know what to offer them? For us, it's easy. It's people come together, enjoy comfortable food that is affordable and exciting drinks with good music, and they just discover. Whether you come here to share sad news, good news, spill some tea, run away from guys, whatever it may be, this is us. So I know this was a hole in the market, a need in the market. Coming back to that pen, let's say that pen you can just fold in a small cube. You solved a problem for someone that really likes to write things down in a notepad and don't like to carry a whole pen around because it's just bulky, it's not useful. So it started out with an itch, and usually when they say, and they tell this on all podcasts, scratch your own itch. That works the best because it's something you're frustrated with in real life and you really want to have it solved. And if you have solved it, you at least have one satisfied customer yourself. And then you already made one person really, really, really happy. And if you can make one person really, really happy, let me tell you something, you're not the only one who's gonna be really, really happy with this. Because we are sometimes more alike in our frustrations than you think. So yeah, that's how I go about it. That's it for today. You have to like the episode, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, help the algorithm, help us grow. I promise we'll get a better production execution eventually. Thanks for watching. Signing out.